शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। In the last three lectures, first we looked at different schools of thought broadly, and we said that the foundation works, Upanishads, Gita and Brahma Sutras, lend themselves to different interpretations. With our limited knowledge in these times, it is next to impossible for us to conclude which of the great schools of thought is the final truth. Therefore, while we respect all the schools of thought, especially the three matas, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita, these classes are meant with the very clear purpose of trying to understand the Advaita Mata. God willing, on another occasion, we shall try to understand and appreciate the other major schools of thought, which also have great beauty, great charm, and tremendous appeal to the human mind. Then, after a general introduction and acknowledgement of the glorious spiritual traditions, we plunged into the very crux of the matter as regards Advaita Vedanta, and that is a rather mind-boggling revelation that really, even at this moment, there exists only Brahma and nothing else whatsoever. If anybody has difficulty in swallowing that, that is their problem, as they say. But without going to these colloquial and slang expressions, the revelation boils down to, if you look at it in a positive manner, it boils down to saying, you are divine here and now. You are free here and now. Nothing is between. Acharyas came. These three great Siddhantas were on the Indian soil. These three highlighted their chosen philosophies. So the word Siddhanti is a representative of the Siddhanta, the school of thought. The Siddhanti says time itself is part of this error. There is an erroneous perception and time is within it. Just as when you are watching a video game, the parameters of that video game are within the game. If you were to look to your right or to your left, if you were to take your eyes off the screen where you might be playing the video game, those parameters have no validity whatsoever. That is what we mean by saying time is internal, or it is on the same plane, it is on par with avidya, and this avidya generates a whole lot of further perceptions, further experiences, our loss, our gain, our sense of, oh, I am going to die, and so on and so forth. That is called samsara. Samsara is sometimes the word used for this transmigratory existence and everything within it, everything that comes with it. All right. When you ask, how did it happen, you presume causation to be unquestionably true as something that is always to be found everywhere. But the Siddhanti would again humbly submit, causation is what comes within. It is in the package deal of avidya. Therefore, it is not a matter of there is causation in the scheme of things, A causing B, X causing Y, etc. There is in the scheme of things causation, and then we ask, what caused avidya? You can't do that, because when there is avidya, there is causation. Causation does not precede avidya. Time does not precede avidya. And if you lastly ask, where did this happen? Where did we get hit by this hurricane called avidya? Were we in Puerto Rico at that time? Again, the idea of where is within the scheme of avidya. Therefore, it is not something subtler than avidya. Swami Chinmayananda once joked, of course, jocularly explained, I should say, when somebody talked about time and said, how did avidya happen? At what point of time did avidya arise? He said, listen to a story. There was a granddaughter on whom the grandfather showered his love. The granddaughter and the grandfather were such great friends, spending time together every day. But one day, there was something different. The grandfather said, oh my dear, how come I didn't show you all these days? What? This album. He brought the album of olden days, and said, look here, do you recognize this couple marrying here? Who are these? You don't, I knew you would not recognize. This is me, your dear, dear grandfather, and this is your dear, dear grandmother, and this is our marriage album. Please see how I looked at that time. Please see how your grandma looked at that time. And the grandpa thought the child would dance in joy. Ah, how nice it is to see you, grandpa, like this. Where you had several teeth in place, today you don't, and so many. On the contrary, the granddaughter, maybe 8-year-old, 10-year-old, jumped off his lap, stood at a distance, and said, our friendship has come to an end today. I am very angry with you. I can never forgive you. And the grandpa was surprised. What happened, dear? What wrong did I do? Then the granddaughter says, I thought you would never leave me behind anywhere. Why did you not take me to this wedding? In the entire album, I am looking with wide eyes. Nowhere am I seen. You left me to this most important function of yours? And so on. Just as there is no way the granddaughter could attend the grandfather's wedding, there is no way that you could place avidya on the axis of time. For time comes much later. The granddaughter was born much later. She cannot attend grandfather's wedding. And time comes much later. And therefore time cannot be a part of the so-called, if at all possible, genesis of avidya. So where was it born? Why was it born? How was it born? Etc. are not admissible. All right, these analogies apart, let's ask another question. If you and I are in a state of erroneous perception, our very fundamentals are to be questioned. That is where in the Gita bhāshyas I quoted and we went into it a little bit. We will go a little more into it this morning. Ādi Shankara raises the issue, Sa avidya kasya? Who has this ignorance? You say that the Upanishads come out with an extraordinary revelation that Brahman alone is, nothing else is. Then you say there is this erroneous perception. And then you say because of his dosha darshana or dushta darshana, dushta here is not wicked, dushta means dosha yukta. When there is a dosha, error, when there is a defect in your seeing, that also in Sanskrit gets into the adjectival form. That which has a dosha is dushta. A wicked person also is called dushta. That man is dushta, don't go near him. Cut off your friendship. When we say that person is spoilt, there is a dosha. And the Siddhanti says that is a very unintelligent question. Somebody is asking and that person only is asking who is asking. How can this be? It is like, as Siddhanti gives an analogy here, you say, do you see that man with couple of cows? Now tell me who has the cows? You in your very primary description said, do you see the man with 2 cows? Like if somebody, I say, do you see that person with white t-shirt? And then I say, I don't know who is wearing white shirt. In your first statement, you described the gentleman, pointing to him, drawing the other person's attention. Do you see that gentleman with white t-shirt? And how can you ask, now tell me who has the white t-shirt? Like this, the question, who has avidya? Then the opponent says, I have avidya. Then your first question is already answered by you. But the Purvapakshi says, but somehow I am not happy with it. If I have avidya, if I have ignorance, then I must be able to see it. Here is avidya. And I must be able to do something to it. Maybe catch it by the neck and throw it out. Whatever. This is some spicing I am doing. The Siddhanti says, you know what? If you have avidya and if you are able to see it, then the question would arise, who is seeing the seer? Who is, because you will have a thought, here is avidya. Who is it that has that kind of specific cognition? specific judgment, specific recognition. How do you know avidya? That question would arise. Well, I know when I know avidya that I now know avidya. If you know that I know avidya, then there would be another question. Who is it who says I know avidya? Who is it who says that I am now saying that I know avidya? This is the issue in logic. This is a problem in logic called endless regress, infinite regress. We explain this infinite regress, which is a logical error. If you give an explanation to some state of affairs with infinite regress, then your explanation is no good, because it has a fundamental error. One of you had presented me long back with this little book, Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time. As the appendix or as some kind of extra chapter, there was a humorous story in it. A young physicist attends or visits a village and gives a lecture in the small town hall of the small town and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, now we scientists have found out that first of all the earth is not flat, it is a sphere, and secondly, as some popular beliefs go, this earth is not supported by some snake or some elephant, or it's people say it's on the shoulder of some strong man called Atlas, etc. No, it's not supported by any such thing. It is in space." An elderly gentleman gets up and says, "Young man, don't try to be too smart. I have understood the whole issue very well, and I know that the earth, which is a sphere, that is, I accept, it is standing on a huge turtle. A huge turtle is supporting earth." The physicist smiles and says, "All right, uncle, that is nice of you to say, but just tell me, what supports that turtle?" This the old man did not expect. However, the old man looks at the young physicist and thinks for a moment, and then he knows. If I say that an elephant or something supports, he will again ask what supports that elephant. So he says, "Young man, we welcomed you in this town. Now you are trying to pull our legs. Enough of it. Before you ask me more questions, let me tell you, it is turtles all the way down. The earth is supported by a turtle, that turtle is supported by another turtle, that is supported by yet another turtle, and it is turtles all the way down." That is called the logical error of infinite regress. And now, on a serious note, having understood, now some other schools of thought may not accept the very first statement that Brahma alone is, there is nothing second to it. Therefore, really speaking, this portion we are discussing, I thought over it again, is not so much a matter between two schools. It is a very important matter for those who accept the first statement, Brahman alone is, there is nothing else. Ekameva advitiyam. In Chandogya, the father Uddalaka says, Sadeva somya idamagra asit, ekameva advitiyam. And in the Advaita system, that statement is taken literally. In other schools of thought, it is interpreted in some way. You see, we don't want to go to other schools of thought time and again, nor do I know those schools of thought much, but a little reference will be in place. At many places in the Upanishads, there are the words like Nirguna. Shankara takes Nirguna, the Upanishads are saying Nirguna, he takes it literally. The final truth, the absolute truth is totally free of gunas. I had the honor and privilege once in Mumbai to sit next to, I was a novice, I was a brahmachari that time, not even a Swami, and in some function in Vidya Vihar, Ghatkopar, in an educational campus, there was some function. And on the same gaddi, what you call it, one kind of bed they put, a soft mattress, I should say. I was sitting, a young fellow in yellow clothes, and next to me was a mighty Dvaita scholar. He was regarded like Bannanje Govindacharya. He was regarded as one of the top-notch and a very saintly person also, Bandarkere Swāmiji. Of course, before I got onto the stage, I touched his feet and did pranam, and I felt rather uncomfortable sitting next to him. On the earlier day, he had come to our Sri Krishna temple in Indira, on an earlier visit to Bangalore. He had come. I knew about him. So I gave some little talk, short talk. When he spoke, it was, for me, it was certain beginning lessons for me in understanding Dvaita system. Very softly, very nicely he spoke, I guess in Hindi. These orthodox Swāmijis of Sringeri or Udupi, Srirangam or other places, they would not speak one word in English. Mlecha Bhasha for them it is. It is not, he spoke, I guess, in Hindi. And he took this word, nirguna. He said some schools of thought say nirguna, Brahma is nirguna, the supreme truth is nirguna, and they give the meaning, it is devoid of qualities. It is not so. Nirguna means Lord Hari, Purushottama, Hari Sarvottama is absolutely free of negative qualities. Damba, Ahankara, Parushya, as we human beings have, Asuya, jealousy, Kama, Krodha, and above all, narrow-minded selfishness. None of those, long list of negative qualities can come anywhere near Purushottama, Vishnu. That is the meaning. It has not been understood by other schools of thought. So our point here is, there are teachings, there are mantras, there are words. In some portions, the Advaita schools takes the words in their literal meaning, without interpretation. Other places they are in trouble. They have to interpret. And the Dvaita school takes certain other shlokas literally. For example, in Gita, where Sri Krishna says, I make everybody behave in whatever way they do, like a puppeteer, makes the puppets dance, sit, stand. Brahmayans sarva bhutani yantra arudhani iva mayaya. In the puppet show it is threads, but in a little elaborate description of it, imagine some puppets are fixed in some kind of yantra, and by rotating some knobs or pushing or pulling some knobs, you make the puppets move in desired ways. That can be taken literally. Mahavishnu, Prabhu, is the supreme ruler. We are like puppets. What Ādi Shankara would do at such places is, this is true on a certain level within the Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa is a word I introduced in the second class, I guess, or first itself, is the superimposition, the domain of appearance. It is not the ultimate truth. It is true. Just as if somebody takes a handful of water and asks a physicist, is this water? Do you agree? The scientist, yeah, it is water. And why did you say everything is atoms other day? Why did you say everything going further down is electrons, protons and blah blah? And you went too far that day. You went and said that even those particles are not the ultimate truth. Ultimately it is some energies, some kind of probability functions, etc. What is all that? This is water. Stop. Now we don't. Analogies have their own limitations. Examples and analogies don't prove anything. Examples and analogies help us understand and sympathize with the viewpoint. Now, there was once, though it is a bit of digression, let me complete it and come back, a big debate in Rishikesh, where scholars of different schools of thought had gathered. As I read from some commentary somewhere, and then somebody quoted certain mantras of Upanishads and said that in such and such places it is not only said that Ishvara, the ruler, God, as distinct from jivas, he is the Satyam. The word Satyam is used. This is Satya. Satya is, this is the truth. And I believe, in Banaras, in Kashi, there was a great Advaita scholar, now no more. He was, officially his name was Swami Hariharananda. But some of you may know, he was famous in the good old days, he maybe died in 60s or 70s. He was known as Karapatri Maharaj. Karapatri it is, but when you say fast, Karapatri. Karapatri means a sadhu who doesn't even use a bowl to ask for bhiksha. Doesn't even keep a bowl. And uses his two hands, stands before a householder's place, bhavati bhiksham dehi, and takes some food, some grains, some eatables right in his hands. Karau eva patram yasya saha karapatri. So he had the title. Maybe on occasions during some sadhana days he had literally done it, not all his life. And even today in Varanasi there is a huge ashram where he was the founder of it. Very orthodox, very sampradayavadi, or that is another side of it. But he was considered a top Advaitin. And he at that time in that debate said, true enough, about this Ishvara and Jiva and their difference, there are mantras which say Tat Satyam. But he drew the attention of the people to a mantra in Brihadaranyaka, just to give you a sample of how interpretations, take the argument in this favor or that favor. Nothing concludes. I have said right in the beginning. In one debate, team A wins. Another debate, team B wins. It's like all this Wimbledon or all these cricket matches and so on. In some match, the one country dances in joy. Within 6 months, another tournament, another wins. So world champions right now is so and so. After a while, another. So that is so with the mantra here is interesting. In the basic statement is simple. There is Satyam. The mantras, the Upanishads, the holy books call this position as Satyam, but they also talk about Satyasya Satyam. Then there is a truth of the truth. That is going one step further. So the Brihadaranyaka mantra, Adhyaya 2 and section Brahmana 2 again, last mantra, Sa yathornana vistantuna uchchared. Just as a spider produces the spider web, yatha agnehe kshudra vispulingaha vyuccharanti, just as from fire there emerge sparks. Evameva asmad atmanaha sarve pranaha sarve lokaha sarve devaha sarvani bhutani vyuccharanti. So there is the pure Atma, the pure principle of Atma, from which everything arises. Tasya Upanishad, the secret of that is Satyasya Satyam, that Shuddha Atma is the truth of all truths. This also can be interpreted in several ways, but Karpatriji quoted this. If you say that such and such thing is Satyam, another place have you come across the statement Satyasya Satyam, a deeper level of truth? If you say atoms are the ultimate, haven't you read another book of physics where there are things more than atom? If you say electrons are the ultimate, haven't you attended or heard of that discovery, that research, something like that? Satyasya Satyam. And in this mantra, of course, Ishvara is not mentioned, let me admit. It is said, Prana vai Satyam, Prana principle is the highest, but this is Tesham Esha Satyam, pure consciousness. That is the Advaita interpretation here. Pure awareness, pure existence consciousness is Satyasya Satyam. That is the ultimate truth. So coming back now, we are again stuck in this Gita 13th chapter, 2nd Sloka. If I make too many digressions in this class also, I will have to say we need to see more of it. We will see again. I will not do that. Well, Anavastha dosha, I am sure all of you understood. If one were to have even slightest gap between here I am and this is the ignorance that I have, like I pick this glass of water and I can say, I am Swami Chidananda and here is the glass of water. There is a gap between I and what I possess, I and what I hold. Likewise, if you propose that here is an entity and it has avidya, then the question that you asked about avidya, how did it arise on Brahman, will arise about this holder also. Who is this holder? What is his relation with Brahman? And if you say it's Brahman only, then that is not acceptable. Brahma is one without a second. So in order to avoid imputing ignorance to Brahma, you proposed some entity and that has avidya. Then how did that rise? That is a secret. It came from some X. How did that X arise? Come here, I will tell you. X came from Y. That would be like it is turtles all the way down. Infinite regress. In logic there are various errors. There is another error, and some other place it will come up, called Chakrika dosha. You ask somebody, you meet a Russian and ask him the meaning of some word. I don't know Russian, so I will call it X. And he says, that's very simple. It means, he gives another Russian word to you. Why? You say, but I don't know the second word also. What does Y mean? It means X. That is called Chakrika dosha. X means Y and Y means X, and you don't know either of them. That is called the error of mutual dependence. So infinite regress would happen if you create even the slightest gap. So are you saying that we must appreciate this issue of ignorance without a gap between one who has and the ignorance that one has? If there were to be no gap between the glass of water and one who holds it, then that issue of finding the next cause, the further cause, would not arise. The Siddhanti says, yes, there is an error, and in this error, in this business of error, avidya, you cannot talk about a separate entity who has that avidya. Therefore, error and the error domain is one integrated whole. And lock, stock and barrel, this whole, this domain of error has to be busted. How do we bust this humbug? How do we bust this racket? There is a racket here. Therefore it is said atarkyam. Upanishads have that word, atarkya. It is beyond logic. Elsewhere Upanishads have said, Naisha atarkena matirapaneya. In Kathopanishad, Yama says to Nachiketa that this wisdom, this insight, this extraordinary way of seeing cannot be arrived at by tarka. Naisha tarkena matirapaneya. In modern Sanskrit, na esha tarkaha, na esha matihi tarkena apaniya, prapaniya. Sanskrit in Upanishads is naisha tarkena matirapaneya. That nobody would bother. So you can't arrive at it by logic, which doesn't mean it is illogical, it is beyond logic. Radhakrishnan said in one of his works, religion is not against reason, religion is beyond reason. For reason, which you and I adore, and for millions of our transactions or operations, activities, for millions of things we do in life, we bank upon reason. But in spite of all that, reason as a faculty, reason as a tool, reason as an instrument, call it as you like, has limitations. So the Vice Chancellor of those days in Bangalore University, Narasimhaya, he wanted to go and subject Satya Sai Baba to physical, scientific experiments with some instruments. He even, first he asked for permission, and no permission came from Puttaparthi. One day he said, friends, let us go. He was himself, I guess, a physicist, right? He was a physicist. He was a scientist. He had done some advanced studies in United States also. Very qualified Gandhian, and as a person of conduct and character, he was great, very honest. But he believed fully in reason. Everything should be within reason and within scientific experiments. Satya Sai Baba in Puttaparthi did not even acknowledge his letters. No reply. One day he said to his colleagues or whatever, 2-3 cars, they went to Puttaparthi. And but over there also he was not given interview at all. But then Satya Sai Baba gave a statement. Some of you may like it, some of you may not like it. But Satya Sai Baba said that the depths of spirituality cannot be measured with a little foot rule. Taking a foot rule, you cannot measure the vast depths of an ocean. He just brushed it aside. So, this reason is said to be like a foot rule, 1 foot long. And you need to measure long distances. We appreciate your spirit. It's like some bird, I believe, found a mother bird found her eggs washed away by the waves of the ocean. And the bird was so angry, it went to the ocean and with its wings started taking the water out and drying away. Somebody asked, what are you trying to do? Believe me, I am going to dry up this ocean. The ocean has swallowed, has destroyed my little ones, my eggs, and I am going to dry up this ocean. We appreciate the spirit. Therefore, rational people, scientists, may take cudgels against the science of spirituality. The answer Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan gave them was, friends, please do not label religion and spirituality as against logic or reason, but it has certain subtleties, it has certain depths, it has certain nature to it that the reason which is most adorable elsewhere falls short of the task. So, without going more, Naishatarkena matirapaneya atarkyam anupramanam. There are some mantras like this. So what does it mean? Stay with a receptive mind. You, the doubter, you who are sad, you who are angry, are part of this erroneous perception. And further to it, lastly, in this very important portion, in fact, in these classes, that is what we will be doing. Tomorrow I will take another very, thought-provoking and important portion in the sense it defines the basic tenets of the Advaita Siddhanta. Rather than going for other areas where it is nothing unique, like I gave, I think, the example, all the masters say speak truth and do not hurt others. And all the acharyas have thrown wonderful light on those topics too, values, food habits, conduct, and 100 things. But the philosophical dimensions vary. All right, the last part here in this very important portion, the commentary on chapter 13, verse number 2, Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. That is the second sloka of chapter 13. Over there is the issue, how do you say Mr. Siddhanti or Ms. Siddhanti, the representative? How do you say that essentially the truth is totally pure, totally free? If you were not to have, this language, if you were not to have also is a limitation of the language. It in no way admits that it is you who have, that is a limitation of language. Our ordinary language always has to go in this style. You and you have a problem. That we have discussed already. It is not like I have a car, I have a house, and I have this erroneous perception and I am suffering from it. There is a huge difference between you are having a house and you are having ignorance. This you are having ignorance is not on par with you are having a house or you are holding a glass of water. Because the very you, the sense of I is on par or is internal to the erroneous perception. That is, sorry for that language, there is a limitation of language. So, if this whole business of samsara is a superimposition and the truth is truth of you, me, she, he, everybody, truth of even an ant and Lord Brahma, ya Brahmadi pipilikanta tanushu prota jagat sakshini, as one of the lines Manisha Panchakam says, that there is one truth which is underlying all of us, the entire creation, chara, achara, etc. That truth which alone is nothing else is, how do you say that there is such a truth? And Shankara quotes, he says, yes, we say it's not from under my hat. The Siddhanti says, in this very Bhagavad Gita, one of the three foundation scriptures, there are many mantras. So we will quickly see what mantras or what shlokas, I should say shloka, he quotes from the beginning till the end, as early as in the second chapter, where Lord Krishna's ministry begins. He says, Arjuna, you may find it hard to believe, but anyone who thinks of himself as the killer and anyone who thinks that somebody is getting killed, both of them don't know. Ya enam vetti hantaram, yas chainam manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanitaha nayam hanti na hanyate. There is no one who is killing here, no one who is getting killed here. The context of Mahabharata war is where soldiers are all set to kill each other. Taking it in a general sense, there is no one who is acting, whether it is killing or writing or speaking or playing football, no matter what. In any action, generally we have several components, but most importantly two components. One who acts upon something and something that is acted upon. Right? And therefore all of us have studied enough grammar, subject and object. Ram killed Ravan. Ram is the subject, Ravan is the object. And we have done those exercises. Passive voice. Ravan is killed by Ram. So a teacher asked in a class, what is the passive voice of I made a mistake? And a girl got up and very easy. I was made by mistake. This is, among those language jokes. Passive voice of I made a mistake is I was made by mistake. So, apart from that, hanta and hata, killer and he who is killed. So, by dismissing the agent of action as well as the object of action, the Siddhanti here says, the truth which those who see, others do not. Yap pashyati sa pashyati. The truth is marked by absence of subject, object and all those things. All of them are adhyaropita. Adhyaropa, superimposition. If you want a new name for a child born, adhyarop. A very highly Vedantic name. Though your neighbors, your friends may say, are you saying that you really didn't get a child, this is only... Because that way it could mean wrongly. But really all of us are adhyarop. Our ego is an adhyaropa, superimposition. Ego is a myth. Ego is a mere construction of thought. Ego in us, in all of us, is the mere construction of memories. Some happy memories right now here, any of us will feel so good about ourselves and lift our collars. And a sad memory comes right here, we feel, all this Vedanta is okay, but I messed up my life. So this I, which feels low at times, high at times, that is ego. And I am especially illustrating how it is the product of memories. It is the creation of memories. Some of you have, if I may make a quick diversion, have wondered why of all places Swami Chidananda went to that J. Krishnamurti, who doesn't believe in God, who doesn't believe in scriptures, who doesn't believe in, what is that third thing? God, scripture and Guru. These three are so, important in tradition. Shastra, Ishvara and Guru. And Krishnamurti seems to mock at all the three. The point is the light that he threw on the working of the mind and how memories influences, conditionings, that all of us receive through the life, childhood onwards. That actually builds the self with a lower case s, which is ego. If anybody now is feeling, I am a terrible failure, I came to this country with great dreams, but my ship has met with wreck, they call it. I am a shipwreck, something like that. Krishnamurti would say, that is what thoughts are creating, It's a mere illusory picture. You are not a wreck. Somebody else says, I came here and I am the Shah and Shah. I am the most accomplished one. Some J. Krishnamurti again would say, are you sure? Dismissing, dismantling, simply undoing any picture that you have of yourself is the job of that teacher, J. Krishnamurti. The Buddha pretty much did the same. And Advaita Vedanta, in one way of putting, does the same. But it is not everything about Advaita Vedanta. Vedanta accepts God, accepts Guru, accepts Shastra. Glowing compliments are given to the Shastra. We will be taking up what Shastra does, what is the role of Shastra in the Siddhanta here. So coming back, the truth is you are not a doer, nor anything has been done to you. Vedantically speaking, it occurs to me the joke that I said a while ago. The girl got up and said, I was made by mistake. That is wrong grammatically. It's not the correct passive voice of I made a mistake. But if she had correctly done, a mistake was made by me. That's the correct passive voice. Vedantically, that is also wrong. You did nothing and nothing was done to you. You did not make a mistake. Nor were you made by mistake, because nothing happens. So, two other shlokas, I won't go elaborately on it. Shankara quotes from chapter 5, he says, this Yayenam Hanti Vettaram is from chapter 2. Chapter 3, he says, there is a shloka which says, it is Prakriti which does everything. And somebody who is deluded thinks, I am doing. That's another instance. Then there is, chapter 5. Lord Krishna speaks in first person. Not exactly first person, but talks of God. God really, he says, neither takes anybody's sin nor takes anybody's merit. He has nothing to do with rewarding the meritorious or punishing the sinful and so on. This is Satyasya Satyam. The much known Satya is God is the Karmadhyaksha. Karturajnaya prapyate phalam. Or to quote Upanishad itself, in the Ishavasya, you have that 8th mantra. The last line of that 8th mantra, which talks about God, says, Yatha tatyato arthan vyadadhat shashvatibhya samabhya. A little complex Sanskrit. Yatha tatyataha means yatha tata. Yatha bhavataha karma tatha. As is your action, so is the reward or punishment. Saparyaga chukra makayam avranam. There is a mantra about the highest truth. And that highest truth, as per our deeds, gives to us reward or punishment. That is Satyam. Upanishads have said it. But Satyasya Satyam, Upanishads also say it, but drawing from Gita at this point, Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhuhu. This vibhu, the all-pervasive Ishvara Tattva, na adatte, doesn't take anybody's papa. That means doesn't make a record. Nor does it take anybody's punya, sukrita. Very difficult to comprehend. What is this? God has gone on leave or what? Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhuhu. And then, what is this whole idea of we must do good things, earn punya, we must avoid bad things and avoid papam? All that is on a lower level. And the shloka says, Ajnanena avritam jnanam. One is caught in ignorance and everything looks real. Tena muhyanti jantavaha. In this way, everybody gets deluded. Muhyanti means comes under moha. So, there are a number of mantras in Gita, in Upanishads and Upanishads, that is Veda. When it comes to Brahma Sutra, we should rather say there are sutras, because Brahma Sutra is a bunch of 555 sutras. In the Gita, the correct technical word is there are 700 shlokas. The shlokas of Gita, the sutras of Veda Vyasas, Brahma Sutra, and mantras of Upanishads, which are portions of Vedas, they talk about the Atma, which is free of any action, any being the object and so on, any quality, etc. That is taken literally. Other day somebody raised a question also, I think. One may say, but why do you take the word Atma as your true nature? Maybe Atma is the name of God. God is free from birth and death. God is free from impurities. Don't make the mistake of taking yourself to be the Atma. So we say, as that it is commented upon at many places by the Siddhanti, in one of the popular mantras, well-known mantras of Kathopanishad, I am sure half of you have studied it, there is that mantra which says, by and large, every living being looks outwards. Everyone is extrovert. That is how it seems they are made. That is how it appears the Creator made us. Literally taken, that's the language used. Paranchi khani vetranat swayambhu. You may not know the original Sanskrit, some of you do, but you have heard this. Paranchi means outgoing. Our senses are outgoing. Our senses find it very hard to turn inward. Even in the Vedanta class, in between we see who else has come and say, oh, that lady even for Vedanta class dresses so well. This gentleman is, sporting some watch or some special something. By then everybody laughs at some joke. Hey, what was the joke? Then you ask, what was the joke? You ask the next person. Only one person cannot afford to be extrovert, that is the speaker. I mean, he also manages to an extent, slightly. But if the speaker goes extrovert during the lecture, or as one of you was saying, speaker feels sleepy, that's very difficult. Though if you don't mind, I have a confession to make. Not in lecture. Once I was conducting what is called guided meditation. There I managed to sleep 10 minutes in between. I gave some guidance, I gave some tips. Think about Lord Vishnu, Shantakaram and so on. Then I became very Shanta for 5 or 10 minutes. And I just shook in between. First thing I did was I opened my eyes and whether anybody saw. Luckily, at that moment, I'm sure some of them were watching me in between, but at that moment, all were either half asleep, and, we are clever people, we are politically correct. Immediately I said, don't fall asleep. But otherwise, Paranchikhani vyatranat swayambhu tasmat parang pashyati nantaratman. Everybody, Tom, Dick and Harry, looks outward. Parang pashyati na antaratman. A famous mantra with which one of the Vallis starts. However, the second half of the mantra says, Kaschid dhiraha, some rare soul, dhira, brave and wise and alert and mature, and dhira is difficult to translate. All these are into it. The kaschid dhiraha, and the word atma is used there. Pratyag atmana maikshat. Taking liberty of translation as per the force of context, one rare soul, one among us, looks within. Why does she look within? What is the purpose? Avritta chakshuhu, turning inward, eyes are chakshu, avritta, turning the eyes inward. Of course, not the physical eyes, the attention. Turning her attention within, one rare soul looks at the Atma, Pratyagatma. Pratyag also means inner. The purpose is, the last word says, Amritatvam Icchan. She wants to go immortal. She wants to conquer death. She wants to conquer time. She wants to go to the domain of timelessness. Because in the domain of time, everybody dies. And death is not only clinical death. Whenever our heart shrinks, whenever we feel bad about ourselves, oh no, what did I do? This is terrible. This is not what I like to be. This is not I wanted to be. A self-condemnation, a self-rejection in whatever context. Whenever we reject ourselves, philosophically it is said it's a kind of death. And we don't want to die like that. So to conquer death, one turns inward. The word used is Atma. Sometimes Brahma is described as being free from impurities, problems, disease, death, this and that. So an opponent may say, sir, this Advaita mixes up things. What is said about God, you take to yourself. What is said about Brahma, you say, see, it is said here, I am without these problems. That is where we quote in one of the lines of his commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Ādi Shankara says, Sarva Shrutishu cha, in a sarva meaning in a whole lot of Vedic statements, Brahmani Atma Shabda Prayogat. The word Atma, he justifies, he defends. Some may agree, some may not agree. That is another matter. There are other schools which say no. Brahma is Brahma, Atma is Atma. But he says Atma is used in the sense of Brahma. Brahma, by definition, is the truth of the entire creation. Atma is the truth of our existence, individual existence. The truth of the individual and the truth of the entirety of creation, Atma and Brahma are one, is Advaita. But then, why do you take Brahma and some description of it? Satyam Dhanam Anantam Brahma is said. In tomorrow class we are going to take that up, because the commentary on that is one of the very, very profound and very, very foundational commentary. So the mantra is talking about Brahma. Brahma is Satyam, Brahma is Dhanam, Brahma is Anantam. And these Advaitins, say, see, it is said here, therefore I am Ananta. You are not Ananta, Brahma is Ananta. So we say, no, Brahma Shabda in many places is used as Atma. Atma Shabda is used as Brahma. Sarva Shrutishu cha Brahmani Atma Shabda Prayogat. Of course, one of the Mahavakyas is the shining example. In Mandukya Upanishad, you have the Mahavakya statement, Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam means this Atma, this pure, the inner truth of my existence is Brahma. Ayam Atma Brahma. As you know, Mahavakyas are by definition those statements scattered over the Upanishads which point to the oneness of the inner truth of individual existence and the inner truth of the entirety of creation. Aham Brahmasmi from Brihadaranyaka, Tattvamasi of Chandogya, Samaveda, then Prajnanam Brahma of Aitareya, Rigveda are most famous four Mahavakyas. They are not the only four Mahavakyas. They are not the only Mahavakyas. They are the most famous four. But there are hundreds of them. Therefore, this is how interpretation goes. Taking certain sections where Brahma is said to be free of any problem, Then some other section where Brahma and Atma are said to be one. And then some other portion where Atma has been shown as your inner existence. They tied together, the system of Advaita was presented, which accommodated a whole lot of other philosophies at that time. Even Buddhism, which was not a main issue for Shankara, as I understand, Shankara mainly battled the Karmakandis. He did not get into arguments with either the Vishishtadvaitis or Dvaitis, who were not in much number that time. But Karmakandis, as we said in the first class, Mandana Mishra himself, those who said the Vedas are all about doing karma, rituals, various upasanas. They are about inner strengthening, inner empowerment. You grow inwardly, you become, on the plane of the soul. Let the body one day dies, but before the body dies, by performing a number of good works, Vaidika or Laukika. Vaidika is on a higher pedestal. Performing Agnihotra and so many other Vaidika karmas, actions, the soul in you becomes a mighty power. And then when the body dies, you go to heaven, live there for long years, and all right, maybe the punya comes to an end. Don't worry. When you come back, again live a virtuous life. Nothing prevents you from again picking up the thread where you left. Perform more. This idea of karma, punya, becoming a very mighty soul who has special powers, who can take in his stride, numerous, disease or sickness or death even, or death of near and dear ones, loss of property, house goes in flames. The karmakandi who has done well, of course gets a bit hurt in the process, but then says, all right, inner strength. That is what tapas, that is what karma gives. But Mandana Mishra and others did not think that there is something where you get free forever. Shankara says, there is a portion you have missed out. So that's how. Let me pause here, please.